Hey geeks, this is Chad. Recently I got a chance to sit down with Katee Sackhoff and James Lafferty and discuss their new movie Oculus. We also got to discuss a few other things, some superhero stuff and a lot of fun things. So I really hope that you enjoy these interviews. And without further ado, here they are. Hi, I'm Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
so
you.
much. Absolutely nice to meet you as well.
I'm a huge fan of yours, but I'm here to the interview.
You.
Actually, my daughter, when she heard I had to wear my Harley Quinn because she heard you were a big Harley Quinn fan.
How old's your daughter?
I have 3 daughters.
Oh my God, you poor man.
8, almost 4 in a couple of weeks, and 1.5.
Well, that's kind of a really good spread between them in the sense that once they get older, there's enough space that they won't feel like the younger ones are stepping on their toes, like as far as school is concerned.
A little bit, yeah.
But that they'll overlap by 1 year every time they go into a new school.
Yeah, the younger ones are close, and then we have the older daughter.
Yeah.
But let's talk Oculus.
Yes, let's talk Oculus.
So I've seen the movie. I enjoyed it.
Great.
But in your own words, why don't you tell me what the movie is about?
Oculus is about a family, a very ordinary family that moves out of the city to kind of raise their children in a more suburban atmosphere, if you will. It's cheaper out there. My character Marie doesn't work, so they move out to the suburbs, and Alan, my husband, played by Roy Cochran, part of the deal was that he could get some new furniture for the house, and he brings in a mirror, hangs it in his office, and it may or may not have had something in it when it came into the house.
Something demonic.
Something, I don't know if it's demonic. I'm sure it's demonic. We don't know exactly what it is, but some definite evil ensues.
So, what attracted you to this role? You've generally done more kind of the action star, more of the kind of tough woman roles on 24 and Battlestar and everything. And in this you play a mother.
Right.
And you haven't done a whole lot of mothering, maybe a little bit of Battlestar, but maybe. A lot. What attracted you to this role?
The script, first and foremost. Mike Flanagan is a phenomenal writer, and he creates these worlds that you can't help but want to be a part of. He's written a few scripts that I just loved. And then I read this script and I felt sorry for this family. At the heart of it, they're a family that is destroyed for whatever reason. And my goal with Marie was to make her relatable enough that moms could understand her. Because you see this role, and as an actor, it, to me, seemed incredibly fun. But there's, it's about body image, and you can't necessarily you can't bring your vanity to work when you take on this role, because there's just, I wanted her to be ugly, so I wanted to do her justice, and I wanted people to feel sorry for the children ultimately, and to walk away from this movie not only scared shitless and scared of mirrors for the rest of their life, but at the same time to feel bad for this mother and this father and these children who were, ultimately, the victims of this.
And it does seem that Hollywood has gone to more of a psychological, a little more lower budget. We've gotten away from that torture porn. I hated it. Where the camera moves away, really wants to play with your mind a little bit more. Yeah. Is that something that you enjoy getting involved with?
I do. I love psychological horror movies. I think that some of the smartest, Oculus is one of the smartest horror films that I've seen. And it really gives the audience credit and respects them enough that he believes you're going to go on this journey. And it's this slow burn until the very end. You kind of feel like you've been punched in the face and it all makes sense. And so yeah, I'm not a big fan of the gore horror. Life to me is scary enough. I don't want to think about all the cruel people in the world that are doing horrible things to people on a daily basis. And so for me, this kind of psychological horror that Mike creates, to me, is just much more creative.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the movie?
Just that it's amazing. I'm just incredibly proud of this film. I think that Mike is a person to watch. I think that anytime you get like the stamp of approval from Stephen King, you're on the right track. So.
Okay, what did Stephen say about it?
I don't know what he said. I don't know what he said exactly about it because I would never. Yeah, you have to look it up. But he's a fan. So and
I'm a fan of his.
I know, me too.
So huge fan.
Yeah, so I think that that's kind of the stamp of approval in the right direction.
So when I was telling our listeners and our followers at Geeks with Wives that I was going to be able to come talk to you today, one of the things that kept popping up, and I'm sure you've been asked a lot, all the geeks are asking you, whenever a Captain Marvel movie, the mention of it comes up, your name comes up. I've read a couple of things you've had to say about it, but I haven't got a chance to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea. I can't really. There's nothing. There's as far as I know, there's absolutely nothing going on. But I think it all started when I said people called and checked my availability. But they do that all the time. If you knew how many times people called and checked my availability, it's probably 4 times today for movies that may or may not even happen. So it happens constantly. But it's just part of what this business is. But I think that. I think there's room for a female action hero movie. I think that Captain Marvel's one of them. I think that, or Ms. Marvel, whatever people want to call her these days. But I think that Harley Quinn's another one. There's room for these villains and these heroes in these movies that haven't really been utilized yet. And I think that they're doing a disservice to female action actresses and also to female audience members that it's they're believable, especially in that world. So hopefully it happens at some point.
So James, I've already seen the movie. You've probably, I would imagine you've seen it as well. No one wants to hear me tell them what the movie's about. In your own words, can you tell our listeners or our viewers what the movie's about? Oculus.
Well, I guess it's a little challenging to explain, but to put it simply, it's about a mirror that may or may not be possessed by some supernatural force, and a young woman who has been affected or thinks she's been affected by this mirror, and so she goes on a mission to prove its supernaturalness scientifically, or as scientifically as she possibly can. So she recruits the help of her younger brother, who she went through a traumatic experience with her family when she was younger, and they sort of are forced to relive that traumatic experience through their trying to expose this mirror, I guess.
Okay, so what attracted you to this role?
For me, it was the script, it was the characters. I actually first read the role wanting to read for the role of Tim, and I was too old, and so but I met with Mike Flanagan and really liked Mike, and so I said I'd love to play the role of Michael DeMont, of the boyfriend, and it's a smaller role, but it is I think an affecting role, and I thought I could bring something to it, so I just really wanted to be part of the larger picture, because I thought it was a great script and it was going to be something special, which I think we're finding that it is.
Okay, so for most of the people actually here for myself, but I'm also representing young adult Hollywood, so there's a lot of girls that know you from One Tree Hill.
Right.
I can't profess to be of that age group or of that genre, but I saw in there you did something like 180 episodes, 9 years on that show.
Yeah.
What do you do after 9 years? I mean, you wake up the next day, you don't have that.
Yeah.
What do you do with yourself as an actor?
It's kind of wild. It takes a minute. I think it took about a year after the show was actually over for it to sink in that it was over and it wasn't coming back. So you kind of take a deep breath and you collect yourself, and you're thankful for the work that's behind you, and you try to use that experience to inform whatever you're gonna do next. And so for me, that's just been trying to read for trying to get involved with other projects in television and take the step into film as well. So that's hopefully for me the next chapter.
Because creatively, 9 years, a lot of studios or they don't, you don't go that long. You know, there's not very many shows that really do make it that. I mean, you have
Yeah.
nowadays you have Supernatural. I mean, it's usually kind of smaller,
Right.
you know, shows like that. I found that impressive when I was checking that out. What really struck me watching you on that movie was they almost gave you kind of a Clark Kent look. You know, I really the character was very Clark Kent. I thought, you know, this guy could play a superhero.
Right.
Anything that you've tried out for?
You know, to date, just because I think I've been on One Tree Hill for so long, and a lot of the I just haven't really been available for anything like that, unfortunately. But you know, me growing up reading comic books, being obsessed with superheroes in general, and being, you know, as an adult, being a fan of the genre, I mean, of course, that's something that I would like to do. That would be just absolutely incredible. So I think as I get older and I continue maturing, hopefully I can make my presence felt in that realm.
I think you've got the look. You know, I mean, everything was set. Now, if you could, who would you play? If you could choose.
If I could choose,
yeah.
Batman.
Batman?
100%. 100%. I've always loved Batman, but I think there's something that Chris Nolan and Christian Bale did to that franchise and that character that for me is just always going to live on is incredible. So, and hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, I'd love to play that role someday. Bruce Wayne, are you kidding me? It would be just unbelievable.
What do you think about Affleck?
I think he's going to kill it.
I do too.
You know, I mean,
I don't like all the haters. I think he's going to kill it.
I think he's going to kill it. I think it's kind of, it's funny, it's not the choice that I thought about when they were sort of searching for the role and everybody was like so hotly debating who it should be. Mm-hmm. But when they actually announced it, I thought, oh yeah, that makes sense. Why didn't I think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last question, you just said that you're a big comic book fan. Our podcast, I'm going to be talking about this stuff on, for mine is Geeks with Wives. It's a comic book podcast. Okay. What do you read? Do you still read?
I do still read. I actually sort of got back into it. A friend of mine, his name is Rob Buckley, and he was on One Tree Hill as well. And he is an avid graphic novel and comic book reader. Wow. And so he kind of got me back into it from when I was like, you know, because I have a whole collection from when I was a kid, but I sort of grew up and grew away from it and got into sports. And then actually once he got on One Tree Hill, he was just, you know, reading so many different comics and so many different graphic novels. And I just kind of got jealous. I was like, I'm missing something here. And so I'd say about, was it like 4 years ago, I just started reading again. It was just, I just couldn't believe that I had been missing out on so many incredible stories for so long. So I like a lot of the sort of smaller titles. Like I still read, you know, some of the superhero stuff. I was reading some of the Avengers stuff for a while. I went back and reread Frank Miller's Dark Knight, which was you know, a classic. You have
to read that every few years.
yeah. But yeah, you know, what I really like to do is just go to the comic book store and just find sort of the smaller sort of quiet stories that are that you can tell are personal to people. Like there was it was called The Green River Killer, I think. Okay. It was a graphic novel that a writer wrote about his father's experience trying to catch a serial killer up in, I think, the Pacific Northwest. And that, to me, it was really, really cool, really affecting.
Very cool. So what are we going to see you on next? Anything? Oh, actually, no. I did Crisis.
Yeah. I got Crisis out right now, which is airing its third episode this week.
Okay.
And yeah, it's kind of that's a really sort of high octane political thriller that evolves into something even bigger and crazier. And so yeah, I'm really proud to be a part of that. So hopefully, you know, hopefully it stays on.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate it.
It was great meeting you.
Yeah. You too.